You ever get that feeling? The one where you're doing everything you're supposed to do? You've got the good job, you're making decent money, but you still feel totally, completely stuck? Kind of like you're on a treadmill that's going nowhere fast? Well, let's get into it. Today, we're going to look at that exact feeling through the stories of two people who found a way to break free.
So this feeling, it really boils down to two big traps that are super easy to fall into. First, you've got the financial trap. That's where you're making good money, but it just seems to disappear. It leaves you feeling more stressed than secure. And then there's the career trap. You've climbed the ladder, you've got the title, but you feel hollow, asking yourself, wait, is this really it?
Okay, to make this real, let's follow two people who were caught deep inside these traps, Maya and Alex. And I'm willing to bet their stories are going to sound pretty familiar to a lot of you.
So first up, we've got Maya. She's 28, she's a super talented graphic designer, and she actually loves her job. She's bringing in a pretty solid $4,000 a month after taxes. But, and this is a big but, her finances are a total mess. That dream she has of visiting Bali, it feels like a million miles away because right now, she's just drowning in debt. And then there's Alex. He's only 25, and man, on paper, he's crushed it. He was a top student, landed a high-paying executive job right out of college. But the reality behind that fancy title? He's just burnt out. He feels completely empty and stuck in what he calls the rat race. His dream isn't a place like Bali, it's just a feeling. All he wants is freedom.
You know how they say it's always darkest before the dawn? Well, for both Maya and Alex, that was definitely the case. It wasn't some slow, gradual change of heart. For each of them, it took a single, powerful moment, a real breaking point, to force them to look their situation square in the face and say, okay, that's it. Something has to change.
For Maya, her breaking point wasn't some abstract thought. It was a number. A big one. Picture this. It's a rainy night. She's looking at a pile of bills, and she adds it all up. The total credit card debt staring back at her was $5,000. Yeah, that's the kind of number that wakes you up fast.
Now, Alex's moment was different. It wasn't a number on a page, it was a question in his head. Stuck on a sweaty, packed subway after another brutal 12-hour day, this one question just kept echoing in his mind. He'd done everything right, everything he was supposed to, but for what? It all felt completely pointless. And that mental dread, it started to get physical. Seriously physical. One night, working late, Alex actually collapsed from pure exhaustion. The doctor laid it out, no sugarcoating, burnout. He basically said, you either get off this ride now or it's going to throw you off for good. That was the final push he needed.
Okay, so they've both hit rock bottom. Their old lives just aren't working anymore. So they started looking for a different way. And this is where it gets super interesting. They didn't just wander aimlessly. They both found actual step-by-step frameworks that gave them the tools to start taking back control.
Maya's game changer came from a free financial workshop she went to. It's called the 50-30-20 rule. And honestly, the simplicity is what makes it so powerful. You take your take-home pay. 50% of it goes to your needs, the stuff you absolutely have to pay for. 30% goes to your wants, the fun stuff. And that last 20%, this is the magic part, is all for savings and smashing that debt.
Let's break that down with Maya's actual numbers, right? With her $4,000 a month, that means $2,000 for needs like rent, $1,200 for wants like going out with friends, and most importantly, $800 a month going straight towards savings and getting rid of her debt. And just like that, boom, she has a plan, a real doable plan.
Now, Alex's path was a bit more self-guided, something he cobbled together from books and a lot of deep thinking. It was a three-step process. Step 1, go hardcore on cutting costs to create some breathing room. Step 2, get back to what you actually love. For him, that was photography. And step 3, the big one, figure out how to make money from that passion.
All right, so they've got their plans, but we all know a plan is just a piece of paper until you actually do something, right? This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's see how they actually took those first few steps. And wow, look at this. This table just lays it all out for Maya. Before, she was torching over $2,000 a month on wants and saving zero, zip, nada. After the plan, she slashed that by $1,000, and suddenly she's got this $800 weapon to fight debt and build savings every single month.
But of course, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. That's not how life works, is it? Life had other plans. For Maya, bam, a $500 car repair out of nowhere. that could have blown up her whole budget. For Alex, it was more of a mental battle. You've got worried parents, coworkers literally laughing at him, and just rejection after rejection on his first freelance gigs. But they stuck with it, and then the wins started coming. For Maya, it was seeing that first $800 just sitting in her savings. The feeling must have been incredible. It proved the whole thing was real. And for Alex, his passion project, his little photography blog, just exploded, went viral. And suddenly, real paying work started rolling in. These weren't just wins, they were rocket fuel.
And when you zoom out and look at the whole year, you can really see the arc of their story. Month 1, they're just starting. Month 2, bam, they hit those hurdles. But look at month 6. Maya's debt is cut in half, Alex's blog is taking off. By the end of the year, they've done it. It just goes to show, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. It's a grind, it's a process, but it works.
Which brings us to the payoff, the grand finale. Where did all this hard work actually lead them? Because here's the thing, they didn't just patch up a few problems. They totally changed the definition of success for themselves. Let's start with Maya. After that year of sticking to the plan, not only was she totally debt-free, she had almost 10 grand saved up. And what did she do? She bought that plane ticket. She went to Bali. She was finally truly in control.
And what about Alex? Well, he swapped that soul-crushing commute for a view from a cliff in Portugal. He's making a living doing what he loves, photography, writing. He didn't just escape the rat race, he built a whole new world for himself, a life that he actually wanted to live.
And Maya really said it best. It was never about being perfect. No one is. The real secret, the real magic, was in making deliberate, intentional choices, instead of just letting life happen to them. One small choice, then another, then another.
So that kind of throws the ball back in our court, doesn't it? Maybe you see yourself in Maya's money stress, or maybe you feel like Alex, stuck on the wrong ladder. Their stories prove that change is possible. So I'll just leave you with this question. What's one choice, just one, that you can make right now to start rewriting your own definition of success?